Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we have an amazing interview in store for you guys. We have Fully Raw Kristina. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Gillian.
Thank you for coming. 18 years raw vegan. And I have to say, you are more beautiful in person. You look so healthy.
Thank you.
You are glowing, Kristina. So strong, so healthy.
You.
So that seeing people like you doing it for so long, that's what keeps me on track.
Thank you so much. It's actually really cool to meet you. And I just want to thank you for coming this way to spend time and to be with our community here on island. It's been so special. So thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Hawaii is beautiful. You are beautiful. So 18 years raw. I would love to start with what first led you into this lifestyle and how have you managed to do it for so long?
Thank you for asking.
You're so cute.
July 15th will be 19 years on this lifestyle. So that'll be more than half my life that I've been fully raw.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about it because, you know, when you think about your journey, you know, some of it feels like yesterday. And obviously there's been a lot that's happened between then and now. But 19 years almost is like pretty wild to think about. I began my journey around I want to say when I was 18, but I always say I began a little bit before because I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when I was 16. And I had blood sugar issues probably from 14 to 18, but I was diagnosed when I was 16 with type 2 diabetes. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes hyperglycemia, which means I had high blood sugar. And most people hear hypoglycemia thinking, oh, she had low blood sugar, but hyper is I had super high blood sugar. And I was raised on what most people would consider to be a really healthy diet. You know, my parents are Lebanese and Ecuadorian, so I grew up with a lot of Middle Eastern food, what most people would consider a Middle Eastern diet. But a high-fat Middle Eastern diet is actually what ended up giving me diabetes because I was consuming so much fat and oil and meat growing up. And I there's so much to the story, but I will just say that when I was around 18 is when I pretty much hit rock bottom. And I was about 87 pounds at the time, going in and out of hospitals, really struggling on my journey with diabetes. And I just remember getting out of the hospital one day and I ran into a stranger at the health food store and he started telling me about raw foods.
Crazy.
I know, right? I still had the IV patch in my arm. I looked not well. And he just started telling me about juicing and eating raw food. And I listened, you know, and so I took that knowledge home with me. I ended up going back into the hospital that night. But then when I got out 3 days later, called him up and began my raw food journey. And I went raw vegan in one night and I never went back.
Wow, crazy. What like divine timing. It's just so crazy that happened to you and you listened. I feel like a lot of people, when they say you should do this to somebody, they just ignore it and want to run the other way. So that's interesting that sometimes if people give people advice like that, they listen just randomly, random strangers. And that changed your life probably more than anything, right?
It was the most pivotal moment of my life, I think. And you know, what's interesting about it as well is the beginning of my journey, for the most part, I was fruitarian. And not just for the beginning months, but really the beginning decade of my journey, I was fruitarian for the most part. So I began my journey by eating peaches for 2 weeks straight, which is the opposite of what anybody thinks one with blood sugar issues should do. And within days of me monomealing on peaches is when I started to see my blood sugar stabilize and my body get better. Like all of these terrible issues that I had from diabetes, whether it was high and low blood sugar spells, fainting, constipation, just like anything you can think of, slowly started going away. And it went away, I would say like slowly and consecutively over the course of a 6-month period, but it took me 1.5 years to officially reverse my diabetes.
Wow, 1.5 years.
And it was not with any medication or anything. It was just through raw food.
And you probably found a whole new life. Like I'm guessing you felt such a difference too in your happiness and just overall how you felt, your energy. Like that's what was huge for me. Was it like that for you too?
Absolutely. And looking back on it, I was 18 and so young. And I always joke about this because the beginning of my journey, there was no Facebook. There was barely an active Google of what we know now. Like websites back then were so, it was definitely a different world, and it was really hard to find and to connect people who were doing this lifestyle. And, you know, it's just really interesting to me now, because now there's people like you spreading this message, and there's groups and there's communities. And back then when I was so young, there was so much that I didn't know. And there was so much that I had to experience on my own and had to kind of pave the way for myself. And I was just coming out of high school, going into college. So I didn't know how to make a salad. Everyone thought I was crazy for eating mono meals of fruit. Everyone thought I was crazy for not eating meat. Everyone thought I was crazy for doing what I was doing. And at the end of the day, what kept me going was feeling better and knowing in my heart that this was the way that I wanted to live my life. And I was met with a lot of resistance. And what I couldn't understand is here I was showing up as my brightest, most vibrant self. And I was so inspired by the lifestyle and the energy and the food. And I was still getting met with resistance from people like, oh, why are you doing this? Go back to the way you were. But out here I was showing up like, but wait a minute, I'm healthy and happy now. Can't you see it? Don't you want to be happy for me? And that's really what kept me going, is the inspiration for the lifestyle. And, you know, I get asked this often because I've been doing this for so long, as people will say, well, don't you get bored of eating raw food after 18 or 19 years? And for me, I actually feel like I'm more excited about this lifestyle now than I was then. Like I've fallen more deeply in love with it. And I don't think of it as a way of eating anymore. It's just how I live. It's just what I do.
And people, we have some great questions. People are asking too, what any tips or advice when you have that resistance? Because even now, even 18 years later, although it's great, we have all the information and so much more inspiration everywhere, people do still in real life or on the internet deal with a lot of pushback and with their family, their friends, when they try to take on this lifestyle. So for any advice for anyone who's struggling with that, like they want to eat this way, but they're dealing with that right now?
Oh, I feel like I can relate to that so much, because I have a very, very large, passionate ethnic family. And as many of you know, with families, it can be really difficult. And I would always say, like, live as an example, live as an inspiration, and when necessary, use words. And I've often found that the more you push, the more they pull. And when you show up bright and vibrant and really happy and excited about something, people want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you're doing, right? So it's just a different energy when you show up and you're happy. The right people will ask you what you're doing and will listen.
That's true.
And those who aren't ready to receive the message, they just won't be ready. And that's okay. That doesn't mean at some point they won't be ready, but at some point.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm guessing your family is supportive now, right?
Oh my gosh.
Too.
I have so much to say about that, because my mom at the beginning of my journey, for those who have, not followed the journey with my mom was the most difficult person to accept, or difficult to, how you say it, but she was so resistant.
Yeah.
And she didn't talk to me for 4 years.
No way.
She was extremely upset.
No way, Kristina. Whoa.
Well, she felt like it was a rejection of culture, a rejection of family. To her, it wasn't just me not eating her Lebanese food or her grape leaves or her kibinaya. It was a rejection of culture and family and a form of disrespect. And, it took 4 years to plant those seeds. And I remember I'd come back from college my second or third year, and I was in the kitchen eating mangoes and making a smoothie, and my father walks in and he's like, "Mijita, why are you eating poor people food?" And I was just like, "Excuse me, papi, these mangoes were $2.99 at Whole Foods. This is not poor people food." I know. Yeah. And, my father grew up on a sugarcane plantation, and he grew up with mangoes and fruits everywhere. But you have to think, in Ecuador at that time, what were the wealthy people eating? They were eating the meat, they were eating the dairy. And so the poorest of people were eating the fruits. And now, fast forward to where we are now, we're learning that these blue zones are actually incredible because people who were eating more plant-based diets are living longer. So my father was easy to get on board. He was like, what? I can eat mangoes again and be a kid and love it. Okay, mijita, cut me a mango. My sister supported from the beginning. My brother has, loves me and supports me and is just thinks I'm cool, but probably won't ever do this with me.
Yeah, I get it. That's like my family.
But my mother, she just took it to heart in a different way. So I remember that same weekend though, I had just started my YouTube journey not too long after that. And I was doing a raw vegan challenge on my YouTube channel, like more than 12 years ago or something ridiculous, really long time ago. And I was running a co-op at the time called Rawfully Organic. And I was having all these people sign up for it. Everyone in our community was talking about doing this raw vegan challenge. So my mom walks in that night. She sees me on my laptop. I'm putting everything together. And she was just like, I'm going to do your challenge.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. She's like, but you're not going to tell me one word. I'm going to watch your videos and I'm going to do it on my own. And I was like, okay. And within 3 weeks, she lost 14 pounds and got off of her anxiety meds.
Wow. That's huge, Kristina.
I know. And so that for me and my mom was the biggest turning point. And I just remember there were many instances in that 3 week period where she didn't want me to say a word to her. She wanted to do it on her own. And it was funny because sometimes I would like make a smoothie and put it in the fridge and I'd come back and the smoothie would be gone from the fridge. And then I'd like go find my mom in the house and she'd just be sitting somewhere in the house and she'd be drinking my smoothie that I made. And I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to touch it. She can have my smoothie.
See, so you inspired her just by being the inspiration, not like, giving her a lot back saying, well, you should do this, blah, 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 probably, right?
Absolutely.
And that must have been hard though, like 4 years of that.
Well, and even longer past that. But you know what? We are in such a different place now.
Yeah.
And I have to say my mother has become my biggest supporter.
Amazing.
She has come to all of my retreats, loves eating raw. And her past 3 trips here, other than the last one, she's come on her own to just spend time with me and to learn how to eat raw and like uses her time with me as sanctuary.
That's amazing.
And as like retreat time. So it's actually brought us so much closer. And, everything aside, my mom and I have had a really tough journey growing up, but it's brought so much healing for us. So I like to think the lifestyle is that because I think that if I had not gone raw, I would have not ever had this opportunity to strengthen the relationship that I have with my mom.
That's beautiful. And I wonder, like, if you had not gone raw, where your life would have gone, what would have happened?
You know what? I don't even think I can go there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably still be sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? You think of how many people stay in that loop of sickness and feeling victim their whole life and not having any power to do anything. And I really feel like what we've been given with this lifestyle is a gift. It's empowering. It's healthy. And it gives you strength to do much more than you thought you could do. That's
a fact. That's very true. And were there ever times in that 4-year period with your mom or any times over the last 18 years you felt like maybe I'll just stop? Or like you had any health stuff come up since then where you considered stopping?
Not once.
Wow.
Not once.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what are your keys? Like, what are you, because you look really healthy. Like you.
Thank you. I feel really healthy. I know I feel like the best I've ever, like, I feel like it just keeps getting better.
Yeah. And why do you think like you're thriving like that after so long? Like, what do you think are your secrets for longevity with this?
That's so great. Okay. Well, first of all, I think you have to want it. Like that's number one, right? Because I've seen so many people in the past 19 years come in and out of this lifestyle, and not just this lifestyle, but being vegan or not being vegan. And I think you have to just want it. It has to be a choice. That's number one. And I've seen a lot of people make excuses as well as to why they're not raw or vegan anymore. And sometimes they'll like make up very random excuses. But at the end of the day, I wish they would just say, hey, it's not what I choose for myself anymore. This isn't what I want, because it really is a choice. And it's actually so easy to eat this way.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. It's so, I know. Feel the same. It's really easy and it's fun. And so I would say choice is number one. and creating a practice plan for yourself. Just like anything else, learning a new language, you have to learn how to make the food, right? You have to learn the language of the food. You have to learn the seasonal varieties, and so learning the preparation and then figuring out a way to incorporate it into your daily routine. Very, very, it's practical, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
So number one, I would say the power of choice. And number two, I would say planning and making it a part of your daily life is really vital. And the third, I would say, is to continue to have fun with it, because there's so much to learn on this lifestyle. You know, even after 19 years, I'm still getting to try different varieties of fruits and making new recipes and having fun with it. And I'm in a place in my life now where all of my physical ailments are healed and gone, right? So a part of my growth that I'm getting to experience now is the emotional and the spiritual component, right? Which is like really the essence of my journey right now. Because it's, you know, I'm so healthy. I don't have anything physically that I'm trying to achieve. It's more so, how can I use this tool to create like more compassion in my life and to bring that to the table in everything I do. Right? There's something really beautiful that happens when you start growing your own food and you have a connection with that, which is a part of the reason why I'm here in Hawaii now, growing my own food and living in alignment with that. It's the next phase of my journey.
And people were asking, so you grow all your own food. That's amazing. They were asking, do you feel more nurtured? Do you feel a difference? I'm assuming you must feel a huge difference growing your own food, eating that fresh versus before. How it was? Is it a big difference?
I have to say, I was running my own farmer's market in Houston. So I had I had access to a bunch of fresh, local, organic produce when I was in Texas. But here it's different because I'm growing it myself. Like 80% of what I consume is grown right in my neighborhood, whether by me or whether I'm trading with my neighbors, old school style. And that other 20% might be tiny things like nut butters that I can't get locally or things like that, right? But for the most part, I want to say 80 to 90% is all local, grown right from where I live.
That's amazing.
And I do feel incredible. And can we just say that feeling incredible should be the standard, right? That's what like should be a part of the everyday routine, is feeling incredible. And all the additional work that we're able to do with this energy and light that we have is like, that's really what we're supposed to be doing in the world. We should be properly fueled on a daily basis.
Yeah. It should be our norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the growing the food, people were asking, because you have so much, it's so amazing, all these fruit trees. They were asking, do you ever have leftovers? And like, what? They're so curious. I got so many questions. They're so curious. What do you do with the leftovers? I'm sure you do something fantastic with the leftovers.
Well, I have big plans in the next 5 years, but I also am learning that this is not a fast race for me. So I've planted more than 700 organic fruit trees on my orchard. So I'm in it for the long game. So my next evolution will be here in about 3 to 5 years, when some of these trees really start to go off and drip, as I would say. And what I'm doing now with my garden beds and anything else on the property, I mean, I have so many bananas, so many papayas, infinite greens, infinite things I have tons of citrus. I do trade with neighbors. I do swap with neighbors. I'm always dropping boxes of produce on neighbors' doorsteps, but me and my neighbors are able to get through it right now. And in a few years in time, there will be a point where I have way too much, but I'm preparing for that. Yeah.
And that's nice. The abundance is nice.
It is.
Yeah. And I'm sure you help a lot of people with it.
I wish I could show people how sustainable this lifestyle is, because there's so many arguments right now about climate crisis and what's sustainable and what's not. One fruit tree can feed so many people. One fruit tree in one season can feed families. Like, it's incredible. And it's so valuable for our soil and the planet. And a part of my journey right now is learning more about soil health and regenerative farming. And there's so many misconceptions out there about it that I wish I could speak more about, because most people think you have to cattle farm to have regenerative agriculture take place where you are. And I'm learning how to do it without that.
Yeah. And would you say a big reason of you eating this way now is because of the animals? And has that evolved and changed since the beginning? I'm guessing big time, right?
Absolutely. So as I shared, I got into this lifestyle because of a health condition. And once I reversed it, it's... There's a rooster right outside the door and he's listening in.
Oh, roosters everywhere in Hawaii. We don't have that back home.
He wants to join the interview.
He's like, I sense the high vibes in here.
I love it. To answer your question, yes, I entered into this lifestyle for health reasons, but I have become extremely passionate about animal rights and saving animals and animal ethics, as well as the environmental component. And you know what's interesting is, been doing this so long, I typically find that people enter into veganism for 3 reasons: health, ethos or animal rights, or environmentalism. And oftentimes people don't kind of veer into the other categories. Do you know what I'm saying? Like people in the health category, the health path, stay on the health path. People in the animal rights zone, they stick into that. Like, I don't. No, you're
right,
are we compartmentalizing
I
them?
see what you mean, though.
And then you have environmentalists who stay in their lane as well. And it's really interesting because I found that if we could all just work together to create an impact, it's like we could do it so easily. Because I know environmentalists who eat meat, and I know animal rights activists who are creating great change, but they do not take very good care of their body. They don't eat healthy. And then I also know a bunch of people on the health path who don't know anything about the other two. And I have definitely grown very passionate about animal rights. And if anything, I think learning more about these other things that are happening strengthen your bond with this lifestyle, and they keep you going longer because it gives you more purpose and reason to continue on this path.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And who do you admire? Like, is it, who do you admire?
Oh my gosh, that's a very interesting question for me right now. I'm actually trying to get out of the habit of admiring people. I know that sounds weird.
No,
but give me a moment to explain.
I like that. It doesn't.
I'd say how do I say this in a kind way? The person I admire most in my life is my grandfather, not because he's raw, not because he's anything, but more so his integrity and how he shows up to do things in the world. And I feel like we live in a day and age where everyone is always looking outside of themselves for permission to either do something or to be like them, or just because, it's almost like they need an example to be able to take the step forward. Right. So people are always online searching. Well, I want to go raw vegan, but I don't know anybody who does. Who else do I know is raw vegan? It's almost like knowing that person or knowing the celebrity, whoever it is, gives you permission to do it. I'm really on a path of trying to encourage people to find those answers within yourself. If you want to do it, do it. You don't need anyone else to inspire you to do something. You can be your own inspiration.
I love that.
And I feel like that's way more empowering than saying, well, who do you, because the truth is like, I've been doing this for so long, and some of the people that I've really admired or looked up to don't do this anymore. And that's, that's a hard pill to swallow after a few years of really looking up to somebody. And so you have a choice. Well, if this person I really look up to isn't doing it anymore, do I want to too? And how are you going to continue? Right. So it's, I think it takes a lot of courage to get clear and to continue moving forward on things that you really want to do.
Good. Well said. And your grandfather or great-grandfather?
My grandpa.
Yeah. So he's almost 101, right?
He's going to be 101 this August, and he's rocking it.
So what are his secrets?
So he drinks green juice every day. We got him a Nama juicer for his 99th or his 100th birthday, but he's actually already had the J1 for a while.
I love it.
He walks every day. My grandfather is really about community, family, and being of service to people. Like that is the one thing, is you'll never see him sitting down. He always wants to help people. He always wants to connect with people. And he's always keeping himself mentally active. He's never sitting there watching TV. If you're sitting with him, you're playing cards or you're talking about something important. And it's really my dream to have him come and visit and see what I'm doing.
He's never been out here?
He's never been out
No?
here.
Yeah, your relationship with him is so beautiful.
I know.
That's so special. See, that's part of the reason I take care of myself like this now, because I want to live at that age to be close to my grandkids and be close to my kids. I kind of think we owe it to ourselves in a way to take care of ourselves for our family and for people who know us and are close to us, to live our best life and live long for them, right? Rather than what it can be in some cases, a lot of cases, running into health problems in the 60s and 70s, losing people in 70s, you know?
And it's not to say that he hasn't had health issues. He's actually survived cancer twice now.
Wow.
And had it surgically removed. So not only would I say is he blessed, but I do think that, you know, I see him take care of himself every single day. He walks. He goes for daily walks at 101 every day.
See, the exercise is important too. So is that something that's really important to you too, being fit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're kind of sweating right now, you know, but I get in movement every day. And I'm also working outside every day, like pulling things, and like whacking things. And so, yeah, I think it's vital. And I also think a healthy mindset is very important.
I feel like it's key.
Right? It's, you know, keeping yourself stable. You can't have a healthy body without a healthy mind. Similarly, you know, there are doctors that I've spoken with who will tell you that the mind and the body are not connected. And I have to disagree completely. I see that they are.
Highly connected, I feel.
How do you develop a healthy mindset?
That's a great question. How to develop
that is, my cameraman has great questions. So Kevin just asked, how do we develop a healthy mindset? That is a good question. I feel like the foods do help us a lot, right? That helped for me a lot.
Yeah.
But still, even things can happen. Like life has thrown some things at me over the last few years, and it's not just food, I realized. So we do have to put in the work to get that healthy mindset.
Absolutely. And I would say that the thing I hear often from most people is that raw food brings up a lot of raw emotion. And you have to have the tools to be able to know how to manage and to heal from this trauma. Because if you don't, you're going to want to go back to numbing and stuffing and sedating yourself with other types of foods, right? Or addictive foods, right? We have better examples in alcohol, stimulants, drugs, things like that. Those are more extreme examples. Everyone can make that connection. But when you start talking about raw food versus cooked food, people don't believe you when you start talking about numbing and stuffing and sedating the body or stuffing down emotions with food. And it's a thing. Emotional eating and self-sabotaging are things. So when you start eating all these raw foods and all this raw emotion comes up, if you don't have the tools to be able to process it and to heal and to work through it, it can be challenging, right? So a part of our work as well for developing a healthy mindset is to learn these tools and to believe in yourself, and to journal, perhaps, to keep yourself in check, keep yourself surrounded with healthy individuals who can support you and supportive communities. And you need all of that, really. And also, environments are important, right?
Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And people were asking, do you ever have cheat days with cooked food? I don't think you do, right? No, I love that.
No. Actually, I have not intentionally had or had a mistake with cooked food in my entire 19 years, which is pretty funny because some people be like, well, what if you went to a place and somebody tried to serve you cooked food and like you didn't know it was cooked? It's like, you know, it's that kind of stuff doesn't happen when you ask questions and you're just mindful.
It's true.
Right? You just, it doesn't take a lot of energy to ask, hey, what's in it? Or it doesn't take a lot of energy to figure it out, right? If you're looking at something and
true.
You have power over what you put in your mouth. I think a lot of people feel powerless to what they're eating. Oh, I tried so hard. But it's like, I remind people, no one else is putting that food in your mouth except for you.
True. And any advice for like the cravings? People are asking like how to get through that, stick to raw and not give in to the cravings. It's really hard for people, I think, you know?
I think when you have cravings, the best thing to do is to have a bunch of fruit on hand, because when your carbohydrate fuel tank is low, you're going to want anything. So if you fill it up with fruit and you train yourself to start eating fruit, you have a better chance of success long term.
Well said. Good point. Okay. And your hair is amazing.
Thank you.
So this is one thing I think people...
Oh my gosh, I have so much hair.
This is one thing I think people, especially as vegans or people who aren't vegan, they think, oh, if I go vegan, I'm scared of hair loss. So how has your hair experience been? And what's your hair care routine? Like, we have to know how often do you
I
wash
have
it?
not had any hair loss. For those of you who follow my channel, my hair is called Mufasa because she is a lioness. And when I just let her, she covers my whole body. A part of it might be the Lebanese hair.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe a part of it is genetics, but I truly believe that when you're consuming enough protein and are getting enough amino acids, you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Wow. Okay. So how do you get your protein and amino acids?
I consume so many greens on a daily basis. Like I eat giant salads. Yes, I eat the bowls that I post online.
Everyone was asking.
I know. Everyone is always, but like if you just sit down with me, it's not hard to eat big salads.
Yeah.
As you know, it's like it all condenses to be a little amount in your stomach.
Well, it's working for you.
Thank you.
I'm going to start eating the big
And
bowls.
I do supplement. I do use Sun Warrior and I do supplement with other things.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned long term, you have to take your ego out of everything. Right? Like if you're in it for the long game and you really, really care about this lifestyle, like you cannot have your ego in this, right? Because, you know, some people will say that there's something to prove being raw vegan. Oh, don't eat supplements. You're supposed to be healthy, but blah, blah, blah. Raw vegan, if it's the perfect diet, then why are you deficient? It's like, wait a minute. Everybody's coming to the table with a different background and a different health history. Everybody is coming from an imperfect background and we all need a little extra support to get us to where we need to be. There's no shame in supplementing or asking for extra support with things. And something your audience might find helpful is that I've had my blood tested every single year for over a decade now. And like last September, I got my blood results back and they're perfect. More than perfect.
And you take B12 too, or no?
I do take B12.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I think that's important.
It is.
Me too. Yeah.
In the beginning of my journey, I was introduced to this lifestyle with more of a natural hygiene approach. And so I was actually told by many people to not supplement because your body would become dependent on some of these supplements and not produce it yourself. But the more that I've worked with people and coach people, I am 100% on board with supplementation now because you have to guide people the right way. You have to take the ego out of it. It's more about getting people to feel good and to get their levels up than anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's being smart.
It is. I agree 100%. And back to the hair for a second, because I'm really curious. I'm curious and I know that people will be curious. So how often do you wash it and what products do you use? Do you use products? I'm assuming. I don't know.
I wash my hair once a week.
Okay.
And I know I get this question all the time, and maybe in about 5 years or now, you'll see me share more. But I actually don't have any vegan hair care products that I like.
Yeah.
And I mention this all the time. I feel like we are lacking in that department. I've tried a lot of things and I don't like any of them.
Same here.
So what's interesting is when I was little, my grandmother used to wash my hair with beer, mayonnaise, and honey.
No, my hairdresser told me about that.
And so
I've heard about that with the beer.
Ever since I've been living on my farm, I've been trying to come up with my own concoctions. And so I make my own hair blends.
No way.
And I just rinse my hair once a week with it. Like I make a hair smoothie and I just...
You should create a hairline.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe one
you
day.
should.
Maybe. But it's been really fun. And, you know, I find that if I wash my hair more than once a week, it's, I don't know. I do really well with not washing my hair as much. That really creeps people out when I tell them that.
No, all the hairdressers say that's the best. Wash your hair once a week.
Yeah.
It's better.
It gets rid of your natural oils. And then people are like, oh, but what if my oils start to build up? Well, the oil is from all of the products that you're using really. And also your body detoxing. Once you are raw for a bit of time, you don't have any of that anymore.
And your skin is glowing. Do you think any secrets to that? Or do you think there's any foods too with that? Or just in general, the raw foods?
I think it's really just the raw food. I really use as minimal products as possible. I do use Osea, but I'm very minimal on things that I put on my body.
Mm-hmm. And your eyes, I can't remember if we talked about it. I don't think so, but your eyes have changed color on this lifestyle. And I can say in person, they have changed color from the color I see before. They are stunning. So how was that experience? How long did it take you to notice your eyes change color on the raw foods?
Thank you. I know every time I tell people this, they're like, no way, she's lying. But it's true. I have before and after photos. I've made videos about this. I had brown eyes all the way up until the first few years of my journey. Like you can see around the iris, right? You see the honey part.
Yeah.
I had brown eyes. And then I want to say 3-4 years into my journey, my mother made a comment about like my eyes changing color. And I was like, we were in such not a good place at the time. I was like, whatever, Mom, you're just saying it. I kid you not. A year later, I noticed my eyes were green, like they were turning color. And so I started like kind of just taking note and taking photos, and they've slowly changed over time. Like even to this day, you can notice the evolution of color within your eyes. And so, yeah, my eyes have changed from like brown to now, I don't know how we would describe them, but they are hazel with blue and like goldeny flecks in there.
They're stunning. Okay. And somebody was asking, this is interesting. I don't know if I know much about fasting with you. I don't know if you've done much fasting, but they're asking, what's the longest juice fast you've ever done? Have you ever done a long one or no?
I have. The longest one I did was 47 days.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually am really big on fasting when needed, and when someone is in a healthy environment with support to be able to do it, or if they have a reason to do it. I've actually done several water fasting retreats, and I've done a water fast myself. Longest I did was I think 9 or 11 days.
How was that?
Only because I wasn't able to go longer. My body told me to stop. And then the longest juice one I did was about 47 days.
And how were those?
You know, amazing. And I say amazing because at that point in my life, I didn't have anything physically that I wanted to work on. I did them for emotional reasons. I did them more for spiritual connection and for healing and to discover new depths within myself. And I found them. They were wonderful. I love them. And I'm also a big advocate of people finding the support they need. I host a lot of juice cleanses on what I do. And I coach people through it, but I'm definitely encouraging people to not do those things on their own.
Good point. And do you feel like on the raw foods in general, you feel more spiritually connected?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. 1,000,000%. It's why I'm still doing it. Yeah.
And do you meditate?
I do meditate, but I almost feel like meditation is a daily practice of anything I do. Like I can be chopping a salad and meditating in the kitchen. Like it's easy to just get into trance when chopping up all of the delicious fruits and vegetables and seeing all the colors. Or if I'm out in my garden working, I can easily pull myself into a meditative state.
Nice.
Right.
Amazing.
So for me, meditation is more than just sitting there. It's bringing that practice into everything you do.
Okay. And somebody was asking, what about dental? A few people were asking. So how your teeth look really healthy.
Thank you.
How has that been for being raw for 18 years?
I have not had any issues.
Wow.
Now, I know people who have, but I also take really good care of my teeth. I brush and I floss every day. I get my teeth cleaned a few times a year. I make it an effort to take really good care of my teeth. You can swish after meals. I think when you just do those simple things, it's very easy to have good teeth health.
It is, especially flossing. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
And okay, if you were to start over now with the raw foods lifestyle, what would you do differently? Like, are there any mistakes you feel like you've made? Or like anything you'd do different if you were to start today?
I actually think that I would not, in terms of food, I would not do anything differently.
Wow.
Not one thing. I've loved and appreciated every part of my journey, and I've learned so much from it. Yeah, I would say, I would say that in terms of, no, I don't want to say it. In terms of food, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's incredible. What a beautiful journey then, that's huge to say that.
I think you have to also keep in mind that people who aren't in alignment with their purpose or their path, or who are afraid of change, might try to instill fear within you on your journey, which is why I think it's so important for you to get clear on what you want. Because when you are in desire of something or in alignment, it's no one can stop you. Mm-hmm. You're just going to be you and do you, and you will love what you do and you'll be happy doing it. Mm-hmm. Right. But then the more people who try to instill fear or are afraid that you're changing because it means they have to change, it creates doubt in the mind. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I'm a firm believer that anything is possible when you really want to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And people are asking about fats. Do you feel like you thrive more because you're not afraid of fats, right? Like, do you keep fats low, or what do you currently eat in a day? And like, do you think high fruit, or like, what do you think is the best way for you?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I would say the first 7, 8, 9 years of my journey, I was fruitarian, pretty much low to no fat. Mm-hmm. And I think that was important for me at the time because I was coming out of diabetes, healing myself from diabetes, and it was important to be low fat. Mm-hmm. And around my 9th, 10th years when I started consuming fats and salts and things like that. Yeah, I didn't eat salt for like 7 or 8 years.
No way.
Yeah. So I started incorporating a few more things into my routine, and I did feel benefit in them. And now I can have as much fat as I want within reason and feel great. But no, I'm not afraid of fat. And but I would still say that I'm very close still to the 80-10-10 model. Mm-hmm. Just probably do a little bit more fat than
that. Little bit more, yeah. And what would you say is your favorite juice and favorite raw meal? A lot of people are asking.
Oh, gosh. Any green juice is my favorite juice. Gillian made me a green juice coming here. It's delicious. I love green juice, anything from my garden. And my favorite raw meal changes based upon what season it is and what I have to prepare. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds silly, but right now I'm on a cucumber noodle streak.
Oh, those are so good. Those are good.
And also it depends on the dressing as well. It depends on the dressing, but...
And you have an app, right? I'll put your app, everything down below.
Yeah,
with all your recipes are amazing.
Thank you. I have a raw vegan recipe app with more than 500 raw vegan recipes. So it's really fun. There's everything in there. Nothing that you could make cooked, like anything you could make cook, you can find raw.
Yeah. And it's satisfying, right? The lifestyle, it's not boring. Like have you ever felt over the years like you're missing out? Like seeing people dining in the restaurants with their wine and their pizza. Have you ever had that like, oh, maybe I should go back to that or should have done that life?
I don't ever think that.
I love that. That's amazing, Kristina.
No, I don't ever think that. If anything, I have found that a really powerful way to share this with people is to invite people over to your house and to make them food and to show them how delicious it can be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, I love it. And somebody asked, how do you juggle all these responsibilities with your properties, with the animals, with your YouTube channel and self-care and everything? How do you do that? Because you do a lot.
I have no idea.
You do your editing and filming all yourself, right?
I do.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how I do it either. I feel like I can't answer that question.
The content too. The content is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And you can see and feel like all the work that goes into it.
Thank you.
And even all the food preparation you do for like the content. It's a lot. So
thank you. I really don't know how to answer that question. I constantly feel like I'm just doing the best I can and learning how to it's just learning how to do it. Yeah. It's just, you just do it.
And you feel happy in Hawaii? Like, do you ever miss Texas? Or you're glad you made the move here? You feel happy?
I'm very, very happy. This is where I'm meant to be, and I will be here for a very long time, if not the rest of my life. I do miss my family, but I know I'm supposed to be here. Like, I feel it in my gut, and I'm doing really important work. And in some years' time, I'll be able to share more of that with you.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so my cameraman just had a great question. He's just adds so much value around here. He wants to know, what's the greatest piece of advice your grandfather ever gave you?
Put God first. I know. I mean, not everybody here will understand that or resonate with that, but my grandfather is a very faithful man, and he's also a very family-driven man. So he would just always say, put God and your family first. And that's like all he ever says to me, really. Like, it's very important to him.
And do you feel like you connect with God a lot?
Yes, I do. Oh, I love my grandpa. You want to FaceTime him right now?
Yeah, we should FaceTime him. Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. God is just everything. I feel like that's great advice. And look at him, 101 almost.
I feel like I really have a blueprint to follow with him. Mm-hmm. You know, it's healthy and happy at 101, still married and happy at after 72 years of marriage. You know, most people don't even live to 72. And he's been with my grandmother for 72 years and also my parents, doing really well and, you know, taking in this lifestyle, and married for 42 years. So I feel like I have some good blueprints. And I also acknowledge like I'm a grown woman and I'm on my own path and living my own journey. And so it's like you get to pick what you want and you get to like choose the things that you want to grow and thrive from.
Any more advice for dealing with naysayers? They're asking, are people who critique the lifestyle or people that cast doubt on the long-term health of this?
Bless them and let them go on their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they think or say or do. It really matters how you live in integrity and what you want with yourself. No one's going to be living your life except for you. So you're the one who should be happy with it and feel like you are purpose-driven.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I have often found that people criticize and shame and judge because they're unhappy with their own lives and their own journey. And it usually comes from a place of extreme fear for them. And when they're insecure like that, it turns into a lashing out onto you. So
I agree. When
Yeah.
people are happy, they're not judging others or they're not trying to hurt others, you know? They're trying to lift others up.
but everybody that I've met who is really, really, really healthy is always wanting to support or love you. Even people who invite you over for dinner and they love you, but they don't resonate with your lifestyle, they will make a fruit salad. They'll go out of their way just to provide something for you. And that I think is really healthy. That's considerate, right? You won't have somebody who will shame or judge you. It's, and at that point you get to choose what kind of people you want to keep around you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. And what is your definition of success?
A purpose-driven life.
Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're in your purpose?
I've been in my purpose for
100%.
almost
I don't even have
19
to ask.
No, but I want to say that it hasn't changed. Like it's only grown deeper and it can evolve, which is beautiful. And it's what makes it exciting.
Mm-hmm. It can evolve and be open to that evolving, right? Not stagnant and stay stuck in things. And I'm curious, like, did you ever have periods before going raw where you were like drinking drugs, coffee? I guess not probably, right? Because you were so young.
I was so young. I know that's such an interesting question. Funny fact for those of you who don't know me, I've only had alcohol once in my life.
I wish I could say that.
Only once in my life. And it was at a family wedding in Peru. My older cousins thought it would be a funny joke to give me alcohol at 11 years old. And,
oh, wow, Kristina.
I know it was terrible, though. I thought it was so good. I had 8 strawberry daiquiris and I ended up getting my stomach pumped in hospital.
When you were 11?
When I was 11.
That's my daughter's age.
I never had a sip of alcohol after that ever again. And so even when I was, in college and people would offer it to me, I had no desire.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think discovering this lifestyle so early on and seeing so many of my friends take, drink or do drugs or whatever it is, it was such a turn off for me to see people outside of their state of control. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It changes who you are. It changes who you are in that moment. It changes your essence. It changes how in control you are of a situation. And I very much love being like just in myself, and I don't need extra substances to have fun.
No, you want to be alert. You want to be your best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so in our interviews lately, we get a question from the last guest for the next guest. So Kevin's just getting that ready. We'll get the question.
Oh gosh, who is this
You
from?
guys, I'm sweating a bit here in Hawaii. But I like the heat. It's so nice and warm here. So the last question was, what non-food or supplements are key to your health and longevity? That's a good question. Like what non-food items are key for you for health and longevity that are non-food or other supplements?
Safe relationships.
Oh, what a good answer. Look at you. I love that. Yeah, it's so important that people...
Who was that asked that?
That was an interview with Mark. I met him at Dan McDonald's house last night. And he doesn't know who the next guest is. So he used to be 400 and something pounds. I think he was like 450. And then he decided he couldn't... Well, to be honest, his main drive was the bedroom. He was not feeling good in the bedroom. And he was like, I want to lose the weight. I want to feel good. He lost a lot of weight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did do gastric bypass surgery too. This was like 20 years ago. And then he's kept on fruits and vegetables since and like eating so healthy, dropped all the crap. So he asked the question and he was inspiring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can let him know my answer was having healthy and safe relationships.
That's key, right? Because if we're surrounded by the wrong relationships, that can affect our life in a huge way, right?
I really believe that we grow and become who we are through safe relationships. Beyond the ones with ourselves, in order for us to grow, we have to be surrounded by healthy people as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, another good question by my cameraman. Would you believe in a relationship where the partner is not in the same diet? That is a good question. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. For those of you who've been following me a long time, you know I've had several public relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only had 4 boyfriends in my whole life. And 3 out of those 4 boyfriends were not vegan when I met them. And they went vegan for me. I would say, still to this day, I'd say 2 or 3 of them are still on their vegan path.
Wow.
But it wasn't a determining factor for me. I was more focused on love and on alignment in so many other areas as well. And also you have to keep in mind that not everybody knows about this lifestyle. Come here, Coco.
Yeah, true. Not still. There's still a lot of people that don't know about this lifestyle.
Some people want to know. They want you to teach them. Some people want to be inspired. They want to have this be a part of their journey. And I mean, it's almost like saying, oh, I want a perfect person to come into my life to complete my perfection. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, we're all growing and learning together. Now, I think if that is something that is a non-negotiable for you, you have to figure out what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would it make life easier? Absolutely. Right. But it doesn't always need to be a non-negotiable if you don't want it to be. I think there's more to growing with a person in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like what defines a healthy and safe relationship?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what is that for you? What defines a healthy and safe relationship to you?
Loyalty, trust, communication.
That's huge.
Vulnerability, being raw, so to speak. And ultimately compassion, care, and consideration in everything, in all the things, right? Like I hate to say it, but kindness is becoming more and more rare to fall upon, but it goes so far to just be kind-hearted with people.
And do you feel like feeling like you're your best self with that person is the key to that too?
1,000,000%. And this is where, when you're working in a dynamic with someone, you get to help them grow into the best version of themselves, because there's going to be days where we don't show up as the best version of ourselves, but that's what the person is there for.
True.
So like, be honest with you and be like, hey, we're not being our best today. Let's figure this out. And I think there has to be a willingness to grow. Right. And
wow. Beautiful. Any other brilliant questions over there, Kevin? No. Well,
I would add to you commitment.
oh, commitment. Commitment for a safe relationship too. Having that commitment. Yeah. Commitment. Yeah, that is too.
Well, I would say that in the same way that you commit to yourself and on your journey in your life, you want to believe in someone else as well, that they can do it and that they will be there for you. It's like a belief in yourself and a belief in others too.
I love that.
You know.
Well, this has been beautiful. I want to thank you so much. And Coco.
Oh, wait,
I forgot
we didn't
to
get
introduce
to interview
Coco.
Okay. So Coco, we have to tell everybody, Coco, what we've been up to. Well, I'll first introduce Coco. I will first introduce Coco. This is my baby Coco. He's just about to turn 5 in June. And I rescued Coco in a shelter in St. Lucia.
No way.
And it was a very meant to be story, because the week that I rescued him was the week he was turned in. And when I found him in the shelter, it's like his eye was hanging out and he was seizuring and all these things. They were going to euthanize him.
No way.
I know. And I basically was like, nope, I'm taking him back with me. And I grabbed him and I brought him back to the States. And Coco is very special dog. He has his own neurologist.
I love
and
it.
he underwent a very big surgery when he was about 6 months old, where we encapsulated a brain hernia and properly removed his eye. So he was thrown out of a puppy mill around 4 weeks old and left in the middle of the street and attacked by big dogs in the middle of the night. And then somebody turned him into the shelter the next day.
No way.
And one of the big dogs had bit his skull and the tooth had pulled out his eye and Like he got 2 tooth bites in his, because you have to think when dogs are that young, their bones aren't fully developed. They're tiny. The tissues are softer. Anyway, the teeth of that other dog punctured his head and his nose. And so he was herniating basically. So Coco survived so much, and Coco is also vegan.
I love that.
I know. Coco's been vegan
Is Coco raw or no?
He's not raw, but he's vegan.
That's great. And he's thriving on it?
Oh yeah. He hasn't
it.
had a seizure in almost 3 years because of it. Yeah.
I'm so glad he has you.
Thank you. And since we've been on island, Coco and I together have rescued and rehomed 14 other dogs. I now have 4 cats that adopted me, and we have a duck named Mr. Waddles.
Wait, look at you. I love that. I love it.
And
Kristina,
Coco
you need to write a child's book.
And Coco
Sounds
is
like,
the prince of it all. Like he loves you. Look at this. He's like, hi, Auntie Gillian.
This just sounds like the best little kid's book to me or something, or some sort of book.
Coco is my sidekick. He is my safe
good
relationship.
Vibes.
He is.
So he's helped you too.
Oh my gosh, he's such a little lover. He's at my side with everything. I love this little man.
I love
He's
Coco
my
too.
prince.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love how you do so much for the animals and so much for the planet.
Thank you.
You've done so much for yourself. So you've done so much for others because of that, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you can attest to that. I know you can attest to this. You can do so much more when you're healthy. Like I would not have the energy that I have to do half the things if I weren't raw. I knew that for a fact.
And it's never too late, right? If somebody's watching and they're...
No. Look at my mom. Started her journey in her mid 50s, 60s. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's never too late. And also a tip or tool that you can take away from this interview is even if you don't want to go raw, 1 raw vegan meal a day, which is what I preach on the constant, is a game changer for you in any capacity. 1 juice, 1 smoothie, 1 salad a day will change your life. And you can just grow from there.
I love that. And what's your favorite quote? Not to put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
If you don't know it, it's okay.
My favorite quote would probably be, if you don't take care of your body, where will you live?
And favorite book?
I love anything by Paulo Coelho.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
Kristina, well, you're beautiful
Thank
inside
you.
and out and so
you.
wise.
Thank you.
And we just love following you. Can't wait to see what's in store. And for everybody knows you, but where can they find you? And anything coming up? Any books? I know people were asking if you have any more hardcover books coming out, or like let everybody know what you have.
I might have a book coming out.
Ooh.
I'm not going to like drop a thing, but I might have a book coming out. And just know that in 4 or 5 years to come, what I'm doing with my property will be very, very special. And it will be a giving back and a service to many. So I'm very excited for that.
Awesome.
It'll take some time though. Like it's not like a recent drop, but I'm excited for it. So yeah. And you can find me at Fully Raw Kristina.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. You're
Oh
amazing.
my
Thanks,
gosh.
Kristina.
Yeah, thank you for coming all this way.
No,
She flew all this way to
From
come and
Toronto.
sit here with me. I'm very, very honored, and it is a pleasure, and it's so lovely to know you.
It's a pleasure to interview you. You
Thank
too.
you.
You're such an inspiration.
Thank you.
I love you. And you know, I actually met you once. It wasn't me, my daughter in Nosara, Costa Rica, before I got on YouTube. Yeah, she ran. I remember because she ran into you on the beach because I had followed you then.
Oh my gosh.
And she like hit you and you were like, hi, you were so nice to her. So you're the real deal. You're very nice.
Thank you. She hit me.
No, but I mean, she ran into you and you smiled and you were so nice and kind. So
Thank
you're
you.
a very good person. And I
Thank
love
you.
you. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And to everybody, I'll link everything for Kristina down below, her apps, her Instagram, her YouTube. She's awesome. Go follow her. Start eating more plants today. I hope this inspired you. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.